Hello, my name is Chris and I'm from 1000 XP. Today I'm going to teach you how to play our upcoming game, The Last Garden. In The Last Garden, you'll take control of a group of robotanists doing everything they can to gain favor with the queen. At the end of the game, the player that has collected the most favor cogs will be declared the winner. To set up, first place the board in the center of the table and then place all the gems and favor cogs within easy reach of all players. Now place dice on the board in the spaces indicated around the garden. The number on the face of the die should correspond to the area it is being placed in. Next, take 2 gems of each color and place them randomly in the sectors of the garden until each sector has 1 gem in it. Then place the power boost tiles face up in the lab section of the board. Shuffle the program cards and deal 5 to each player along with the 4 robotanist meeples of their color. In a 4-player game, players will get 1 less card and 1 less meeple. Finally, give the queen tile to the first player and you're ready to begin. The Last Garden is played over a specific number of rounds made up of player turns. On each turn, you'll perform 2 actions in the following order. You'll play a card from your hand, which manipulates the garden. Then you'll place one of your robotanists onto the board. After you do that, play will continue clockwise around the table until each player has placed all their robotanists onto the board. The round is then over. Let's go over the turns in a bit more detail, starting with playing cards. There are 3 types of cards that you can use in The Last Garden, and they each do different things. The first type of card is called Place. When you play a place card, you may take 1 gem of any color you like from off the board and place it onto a single sector of the garden which matches the number in the top left portion of the card. So playing this Place of 3 allows you to take a green gem and place it in this 3 section. Next are move cards. Move cards allow you to move 1 gem from a single sector which matches the number in the top left portion of the card to any other sector. So playing this move 5 would allow you to move the gem in this 5 sector to this 3 sector. The last type of card you can play is called Spin. When you play a spin card, you may change the facing of 1 die that matches the number in the upper left portion of the card by 1 pip. So playing this 2 spin would allow you to change the die facing of this 2 to a 1 or a 3. Note that 1s may become 6s and 6s can become 1s. Now normally, any card you play must affect a sector of the garden that matches the number in the top left of that program card. However, if a card in your hand does not match any of the die faces showing in the garden, that card can instead count as a card of any other single number. So in a situation like this one where there are no 2s on the board, this Place 2 card can be used to place a gem on any single section of the board. After you place a card, it's now time to place a robotanist onto the board, and there are 4 major sections that you can place in order to try and gain favor cogs at the end of the round. The garden. You can place a robotanist directly into a sector of the garden as long as there are no other robotanists in that sector. At the end of the round, you'll gain 1 favor cog for every gem that shares a sector with your robotanists in the garden. The mines. There are 3 areas of the mines that can be occupied by robotanists, each corresponding to a particular gem color. At the end of the round, players will gain favor cogs based on which color of gem is most prevalent in the garden. In this case, if there are more red gems in the garden than any other color, the player will gain 5 favor cogs at the end of the round. The workshops. The spaces in the workshop correspond to sectors in the garden. At the end of the round, a player with a robotanist in the top row of the workshop will gain 1 favor cog for every gem in a sector which matches the number at the top of that column. For example, this white player will gain 1 favor cog for each gem in every 3 sector, which in this case would be 3 favor cogs. The second row of the workshop is for helpers. This row is scored the same as the top row, except that robotanist's place here will only gain half of the favor cogs rounded up. So if the black player went here, they would be gaining 2 favor cogs. The final row of the workshop is a bit different, and so I'll explain it later when I explain the end of the round sequence. The last area robotanists can be placed in is called the lab. When you place a robotanist in the lab, you may choose any of the program boost tiles in the lab and place it in front of you. The program boost tiles are all one-time use tiles which can augment a program card you play on a future turn. The doubling boost combines with the place or a move card to double its effects, so you may instead place 2 gems with a single place card or move 2 gems with a single move card. The spread boost combines with the place or move card to allow that card to affect every sector which matches the card number rather than only affecting a single sector. Lastly, the Wild Boost combines with any program card to change its ability, so a 4 spin card could instead be used as a 4 place or a 4 move. Program Boost tiles remain in your control until they're used, and you may only ever keep 1 Program Boost tile. Once they're used, they're returned to the lab. Queen tile. The first player of each round also has access to the Queen tile. On any one of their turns, the player with the Queen tile can use it to take 1 gem from off the board and place it in any sector of their choice. The Queen may only be used once per round and is considered an additional action that the player may use for free. After all players have placed their final Robotanist, players will discard their last cards and proceed to the end of the round. At the end of the round, 3 things will happen in the following order. First, any Robotanists in the lab may now be moved to an available space in one of the other 3 placement areas. Robotanists will exit the lab in the same order they entered. Second, wilting may occur. If at the end of the round a sector of the garden has 6 or more gems in it, the Queen will demand that all the gems are removed. Because wilting happens before scoring, it's sometimes a risky proposition to place a Robotanist in a sector with a high likelihood of your opponents adding gems to force the sector to wilt. This is where the final row of the workshop comes into play. Robotanists may be placed in the final row in order to join the cleanup crew. If a sector of the garden wilts, and a Robotanist was placed in the wilt row corresponding to that sector, that Robotanist's player will gain 3 favor cogs. Sometimes it's good to hedge your garden bets, and I immediately regret writing that pun. After wilting, players gain favor cogs for all the Robotanists based on the scoring rules I mentioned previously in this tutorial. Players will then remove the Robotanists from the board, and the player that went first will pass the Queen tile to the player on their left, who will be the first player to go in the next round. Players will get to keep any Program Boost tiles they have left over for the next round, and the gems and the dice in the garden do not reset. I'll repeat that again because it's an important rule. The gems and the dice in the garden do not reset between rounds. Shuffle all the program cards together, deal new hands to all the players, and you're now ready to begin the next round. After 3 rounds in a 3-player game, or 4 rounds in a 2- or 4-player game, the game will be over. Players will count their favor cogs, and the player with the most favor cogs controls the Queen's favorite Robotanists and wins the game. Thanks for watching this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below. We'll see you next time.